gonna speak to you. I'm gonna try to speak to you, but if I'm talking, you have to let me know. So, the objectives of my talk is how to deliver a talk effectively, how to improve your talking, to give you some principles of lecturing, and to give you some ideas how should or how should not use PowerPoint. Some of these things are presented already by Professor Sharif, but some of things which I will present to you will just complement his talk. Right, so if we have to define what is lecture, you can say that, and many lectures that we see, they comply with this definition, which is one-way process in which the learner is confined to the passive role of being listener. And the most people will define lecture like that. But then if your lecture is defined like that, your audience will be sleeping like on the cartoon. So what lecture is not like that? That's a lecture that is more or less a continuous exposition by the speaker to the learner. And so the audience has to learn something in a continuous way, an interactive way. So talking about the exposition, exposition is to provide you with a learning experience which can include one of the following. But it doesn't mean that the learner has to be just passive, and has to be sleeping on the chair, but the audience has to participate in the whole process of teaching learning. It's always a two-way process. And if we speak about the learning, the lecturer has to enable the process of learning by interacting with the auditorium. If I have to give you principles of teaching, your lecture, if you want to make a good lecture, has to be motivating, has to be meaningful, have to involve the learners, has to be outcome driven, and has to be based on capacity to learn, and it has to give chance for reflection and feedback. The lecture should not simply be alternative to a book or a website, but it has to be interacting experience for both sides. And that is the purpose that you have to chase. There is different lecturing styles. The most commonly used is the classical style where the lecture is structured and is following the line behind the reasoning of a topic, and then it's providing detailed, up-to-date information, evidence-based information. You can do just outlines where you outline general principles and you don't go so deep as with the classical lecture. You can do just introductory or debrief, and the lecture is, in that case, combined with different teaching methods. You can just pick a thesis and then you define that thesis. And you can compare different thoughts. So these are all different types of lectures. Every lecturing process has its limitation, and as a sophisticated process, lecturing has also limitations. Some of them have been just mentioned by Professor Sharif. And one of the main challenges is how much information your learner will retain, how much knowledge he will transfer. And also the lecturer has no capacity to develop behavioral skills, so you have to use different teaching methods. You cannot change your attitude. Some of the limitations are being overcome with the way how the lecturer is interacting with you. So if I'm interacting with you, if I don't allow you to sleep, if I see somebody sleeping, I can offer coffee, they will laugh, and then we will continue further. So how to improve the lecture? The most important thing is you have to try to connect with your audience. You have to capture their attention, and then you have to promote their understanding with every means that you have. So in that respect, the opening is very important. If you just say, good morning, I am today here to present this or that, then you're not standing proud of everybody else. You've heard a lot of talks like that, and you're going to be sleeping like with the previous lecture. I don't mean literally, I mean just in general. I don't want to abuse anybody. So instead, you can probably try to give a joke or try to ask a question the people that you're lecturing, and like that you keep the communication, and like that you keep further, and you convey the message in a better way, and the audience will retain more. So, for example, this is a good slide that I found. If you are delivering a lecture on dealing with difficult people, you can show them boxing gloves, and you can say that's just in case nothing else works. And this is a good way to catch their attention. So what will be the content? Usually, it will be defined in the beginning. So it's good if you define what are you going to give to your auditorium. It could be structured, and it is good to be structured. And you can also give them resources that they can use. How the lecture will be structured and what will be the most common pitfalls. Some of them are trying to cover too vast, too big, too much information. If you fail to prepare adequately, if you, sorry? Yes? You're bored? Okay, right. So that's okay. No, you can be bored, and you can tell me, and like that, I am interacting with you, and I try to change my presentation so you're not bored. Okay, so I'll speed up, so probably you are a little bit honest. So these are the most common pitfalls, and that's why you have to try to avoid them. How the delivery is being done is that, again, the learner has to be involved. Your body language is important as well. Your presentation style is important, and how you respond to the others. For example, how I responded to you. If I start stuttering after you stop me like that, that's going to be bad, and I will not be possible to continue. So points to remember: the first 20 seconds are very important when you deliver a lecture. This is the time when you will grab your audience, or you will lose them, and then they will not listen to you anymore. And you have to try to provide less so you don't bore your audience. You have to keep your time. Am I on time? Hopefully. You have to structure your lecture, and you have to concentrate not on how you present, but how you communicate and how you interact with your audience. It's good to define your learning outcomes. Information that usually you will remember. Design a proper structure with entry, which is again to grab your attention, to stick no more than 3 to 5 learning points, and to design a good take-home message. To not deliver very long lectures. Remember, less is more. And it is good to give resources and to use resources. A good suggestion for a PowerPoint presentation: stick to this rule: 7 lines per slide, 7 words. I don't know. Hopefully, this is like that. This is a bit crowded slide. Use pictures, because remember, a picture is 1,000 words. Use charts and illustrations, and less text is necessary. And the illustrations will make your statement sticky. They will stick to your brain. And then, very important as well, practice. Practice is important. All the great speakers were bad speakers in the beginning. So if you practice, you will definitely improve. You can train your presentation in front of a mirror, camera, or friends. And then I will give you this acronym at the end. So what is lecturer? Lecturer is somebody that is using your language, his language, and including body language appropriately, has to keep eye contact. If I make you laugh, that's going to be good, and I will keep you awake with that. Talking, but not only what words I'm using, but what voice I'm using, what tone, the pace. Unexpected. Try to to surprise your audience. Try to give them surprises so they don't sleep, otherwise they will be bored. Respond to the feedback. Thank you so much for challenging me like that. Engage and interact with the audience, and rehearsal training. Thank you. That's it.